Congratulations on becoming a Rover.com dog sitter. I'm Matt, I'm a professional dog trainer, and I'm also a Rover.com sitter.
And I'm Stacy, a dog owner and Rover.com client.
In this video, we'll cover some information you'll need to begin successfully and responsibly caring for dogs via Rover.com.
We'll discuss hosting a meet and greet for prospective clients.
The drop-off, starting off on the right paw.
Caring responsibly for your furry charge.
Safety first, important information to keep visiting dogs healthy, safe, and happy.
Saying goodbye until next time.
And in the final section of this tutorial, we'll give you some key details on how Rover.com measures sitters.
This information will help you maximize your success on Rover.com by aligning your priorities with ours, so that you get more exposure and can build your client base,
while building your reputation as a caring and qualified dog sitter.
Let's get started. Here, boy, hosting a meet and greet.
Before accepting a job, it's best to do a meet and greet with your prospective client and their pooch. Why, you ask? Well, this is important for 3 reasons.
First, the meet and greet is a chance to present your best dog-caring self. Think of it like a mini interview. It's a chance to tell the client about your skills, experience, and your dog care philosophy.
Secondly, it's a chance to explore whether this specific dog sitting job is right for you. Do you like being around this breed of dog? Is this dog younger or older than you're used to? A good size for your living space. Also, what are the client's dog care expectations? This is really an opportunity to gather information and make decisions.
Thirdly, the meet and greet allows everyone involved, including the furry ones, a chance to determine if you and the animals are comfortable together. Now, on to what to include and where to include it.
Plan to meet your potential client and their dog on common ground first, such as a neighborhood dog park. Bring your own dogs along too, so everyone in the family can meet the possible canine guest. At this point, it's important to remember, not all dogs are comfortable making friends quickly. Always allow the dog to choose to say hello.
If a dog is shy, give it some space. Offer the client a compliment about the dog and explain you want to give it a while to get used to a new person. It might help to offer your new furry friend a high-value treat or two, but ask the client's permission before you do.
While the dog is getting used to you, take a few moments to go over the owner's wishes for the time the dog will be in your care.
You and the client should discuss and reach some shared expectations. If you don't do it at the meet and greet, you can work these out through messages over Rover.com. But make sure you definitely cover these details before the drop-off. Otherwise, you and the client might not be on the same page about your responsibilities.
What should you include in this discussion? Share specifics about the services you provide, such as the number of visits you'll make per day if you're sitting the dog in their home, the duration of the walks you'll provide and where you'll be walking. Or, if you're planning to host the dog in your home, give the client a list of items to bring when they drop off their dog. Things such as food, treats, medications,
leash and harnesses, food and water bowls, and comfort items like a favorite blanket or a dog bed. This is also a good time to remind the dog owner to fill in the care instructions on the dog's Rover.com profile. Ask them to include the contact information for the dog's vet and to fully list all current medications and health issues. We'll talk more about this later, but in general, the more information the client can include on the profile, the better.
Other important care questions to ask during the meet and greet might be, would your client prefer to be notified about minor vet visits while away, or wait until they get home?
What's your client's preference for emergency vet care?
What are their wishes for extreme life-saving measures? This is important if you'll be caring for dogs that are elderly or infirm.
Once you've gone over this information and reminded them to put it on the dog's profile, it's back to the fun part. Take a neighborhood walk together. This way, your dogs and the guest dog get to know each other even better, still on neutral territory, before heading indoors. If you'll be boarding the dog, plan to hold the final third of the meet and greet at your place. Again, make sure all members of your family are present, especially your dogs.
To prepare for this part of the meet and greet, decide in advance where everyone will be eating and sleeping. This will help minimize canine arguments over food and space. What special activities will you arrange for your guest dog? Think about these in advance and describe them so the client will know what a fun stay you have planned.
And also, be sure your home is neat and clean. This will inspire confidence about your services. There you have it. It's always best to do a meet and greet before taking any dog sitting job. You'll want to make sure you and the animals you'll be caring for are comfortable with each other. And if your services and skills are a good match with a particular dog, This could be the beginning of a successful, ongoing relationship.
The drop-off, starting off on the right paw. If you're hosting a dog in your own home, the dog sitting session begins with the drop-off. Allow the guest dog to get reacquainted with your own dogs and your living space, while you take the time to reconnect with your client.
Once again, make sure you understand your client's expectations. Review what you discussed at the meet and greet, and at this point, also go over notes about feeding times, potty habits, vet care, pooch personalities, and favorite pastimes. Listen carefully to your client's instructions because there may be some information not written on the dog's profile that's important and can help make the visit go smoothly.
Allow the client to tell you about the items brought along for the visiting dog's comfort. Talk about what you can do to make your new charge feel at home. Try to focus on the dog's needs. While the client's away, the doggies play. Caring responsibly for your furry charge.
Customer service doesn't end when the client leaves. In fact, your most important customer service obligations begin now. Of course, there are the basics. Take the absolute best care of the dog you're sitting with. Stick to a regular and dog-oriented feeding and potty schedule. Keep the dog's environment healthy and comfortable. Manage the dog's energy level with activities and, if applicable, keep the client's home clean and dispose of feces daily. But beyond that, what's the true underlying foundation to a successful dog caring practice?
Frequent and consistent communication. Now that the dog's in your care, it's time to build on the rapport you established with your client at the meet and greet and during the drop-off. Regular communication during the client's absence shows your professionalism. It allows clients to relax on vacation or focus on business, knowing all is well at home. It also keeps clients aware of emergency issues, so there are no unhappy surprises when they return.
Alert clients to any difficulties as soon as possible, even problems encouraging the dog to eat or behavior that seems odd for the dog in your care. The client knows their dog very well and may have suggestions or tips to help.
You can also keep clients up to date on the fun the dog is having with daily status updates.
Rover recommends you share daily or twice daily photos with a client. If you share 5 or more photos, you can generate a fun Rover reel of the dog's visit.
iPhone users can download the Rover app to send mobile updates and pics. If you don't have the app, simply communicate through rover.com with a quick note or a cute story and a picture of the dog having a great time with you.
But how do you ensure that a dog is having a great time with you?
By keeping the following key concept in mind.
Respect.
When most of us think of a dog, we imagine a friendly, tail-wagging creature.
But just as dogs come in all shapes and sizes, they also have all kinds of personalities and temperaments. Some are more energetic, others are wallflowers. The key to keeping the dog and yourself comfortable is to respect these differences.
For example, some dogs may let you into their circle of favorite people immediately, but many dogs make friends more slowly. With their people away and a stranger taking over, this process can become even slower.
This is actually a stressful time for these dogs. Be respectful of their personal space. Wait until they are ready to initiate contact. You can offer treats. Toss them near the dog if he seems hesitant to approach you, but never force close proximity on a shy or nervous dog.
Try taking the dog for a walk if she's willing to go. A little fun and exercise can help break the ice. Keep your voice cheerful but calm throughout the walk to establish a positive association.
It can take between 24 and 48 hours for a dog to relax, though, as Matt explained to me, some dogs never quite settle in completely.
And if a dog wants to hang out in the corner or by the door or in the kitchen, it might not be anxiety, but normal behavior. If you're concerned, ask the owner if this is normal. For example, I recently boarded a very cool Pomeranian that always seems to hang out in the kitchen. Turns out, this is normal behavior at home.
Once you've warmed up to each other and made friends, you'll both be enjoying your time together.
There are several things you can do to make a dog's alone time easier as well. Start by keeping all of your departures low-key. A long goodbye can project anxiety to an animal. Try to smooth out the contrast between your presence and your absence. Let's face it, it's more fun when you're there and pretty lonely when you're not. So strategically, save some of the good stuff for when you're gone.
For example, you can wait to put a dog's food down until just as you're leaving. This will add a positive aspect to your departure. Mash dried kibbles into a toy, or put some yummy and interesting food into a Kong. These devices provide dogs with mental stimulation while they enjoy their meal. Then they can take a nap to sleep off the effort.
Does the dog you're caring for use a crate? Place the Kong or a special treat inside the crate to entice the dog and make going into his haven a rewarding and happy experience.
The secret to getting off to a good start and then maintaining a good relationship is to respect the dog as a unique individual and to keep your expectations reasonable. Remember, this is a new and unusual situation for your canine visitor.
Safety first, keeping visiting dogs healthy, safe, and happy. As someone who's been caring for dogs professionally for almost a decade, I can tell you that pet sitting is an incredibly rewarding experience, but it's also serious work to care for another's valued family member. Here are 6 important tips for keeping the dog in your care safe and happy.
Number 1, watch doors, fences, and gates. Be sure they're latched. Dogs feeling the stress of their owner's absence are far more likely to panic and run.
You can avoid the tragedy of a lost dog or one that's been struck by a car by keeping a close eye on fences and gates and keeping them locked at all times.
When leaving without the dog, make sure he stays away from the door by tossing treats behind you, or leave her with a Kong or a treat bar in another part of the house, or even more securely, in a crate.
Number 2, always use a leash, regardless of how well trained a dog seems to be.
Use a leash even for short distances, such as walking from the house to the car.
It only takes a moment for a dog to get distracted and go dashing into the street after a darting squirrel or a passing cyclist. Dogs don't tend to look both ways before crossing.
Leash dogs in your care before you open any door, and check that you have a tight grip on the leash. Keep dogs on the leash even when in the car or outside.
You'll want to be sure you're using the right equipment and that everything fits properly. A collar should fit loosely on the neck. Usually, if you can fit 2 fingers between the skin and the collar, it's just right.
Always use a 5 or 6 foot leash and a safety harness. The harness should lie flat and snug against the body. We don't want them too loose as they could cause chafing during walks. This will also ensure the dog can't slip backwards and get loose if he's startled by a loud noise or decides he doesn't want to cross the street after all.
Avoid flexi leashes. They don't provide enough control and they allow dogs too much leeway to run into the road. I also don't recommend martingale collars. They aren't recognized by the Association of Pet Dog Trainers as an acceptable tool because they can cause trachea damage.
You'll want to use the right tools and use them properly to ensure that the dog is safely leashed when not indoors or gated.
You should never walk a dog you're sitting off leash unless you're a professional dog trainer or walker with express permission in writing from the owner.
Number 3, don't risk an altercation.
Regardless of how friendly the dog in your care is, your best policy is to avoid other dogs and people, especially children. It's the only sure way to avoid an unexpected bite incident. Never put the dog close enough to bite anyone.
Remember, you don't know this dog well, and he's likely already anxious due to his owner's absence. Anxiety can make a dog's behavior erratic and unpredictable. This is definitely a better safe than sorry situation.
Number 4, build your relationship gradually. Let the dog set the tone.
For example, don't cuddle. I know it's tempting to hold and cuddle dogs that appear nervous, shy, or scared. Naturally, we want to reassure them and make them feel better.
But even though it's tough, resist the temptation. It's much more respectful to allow shy dogs the space and time they need to warm up at their own pace.
You'll make friends faster and avoid bites from forced proximity.
Learn all you can about dog body language so you can better read what your charges are trying to say to you.
For example, did you know that dogs that roll over aren't necessarily asking for a belly rub? Many times they're expressing their anxiety and letting us know they aren't a threat.
Respect this signal by resisting the urge to crouch down and give that tempting belly a pat. Hold the belly rub until you're better friends.
Tip number 5, routine.
Stick to the visiting dog's routine as much as you can. Regular feeding schedules will minimize stress and tummy upsets. And many medications are time sensitive, so be sure to keep a consistent administration schedule.
Insist in advance that the client include this information on the dog's Rover.com profile. Then, use the alarm and reminder functions of your cell phone to help you avoid missed or late doses.
A regular exercise schedule can reduce stress and give the dog something to look forward to. It can also help you to manage the energy level of a particularly rambunctious young dog. However, some breeds should not be strenuously exercised, so check with the owner before you plan long hikes or jogs with your charges.
Number 6, be attentive.
Keep daily notes about a dog's eating, potty habits, physical appearance, and behavior to help you notice changes in the appearance of symptoms early. This ensures you have accurate information to share with the veterinarian if you need to seek help.
If you notice something amiss or a dog sustains an injury while in your care, even if it's not an emergency, contact the client to let them know immediately.
Here is a list of some of the main symptoms to watch for.
Ask a Vet can also help you when questions arise. Find more details about the Ask a Vet services on Rover.com.
Finally, if you're unsure whether it's time to seek professional care, call your client's vet for advice. Use the client's own vet whenever possible, as they know the dog and have the entire health history on record. Be sure you have directions to each client's vet already on hand before each visit begins. You don't want to have to look them up in the heat of an emergency.
And as we all know, you're much less likely to have an emergency if you're prepared for one.
Saying goodbye until next time. Okay, you've had a successful sitting and the client and dog have been reunited. So what now? Just a few more details to attend to.
To fulfill your customer service obligations, provide clients with a summary of their dog's adventures while they were away. Include fun highlights, feeding, and health information. This will increase your chances of being invited to care for their dog again.
Sending a thank you note through Rover.com is a thoughtful touch. It's also a great opportunity to ask clients to leave a review on the site to help you attract additional business. And don't forget to fill out the dog's review.
Well, that's about it for now. We've covered a lot of material, and it's okay if you need to go back and revisit portions of this tutorial. We hope you found this information helpful. As a dog owner and Rover.com client,
and as a dog care professional and a Rover.com sitter, we wish you all the best with your Rover.com practice.